Stuart McLean became one of Canada's most beloved humorists and storytellers. But if you asked him, he'd say his success was a surprise, to himself above all.
I mean, I didn't really expect myself to amount to very much either. So I was intimidated by the brains of the athletes all around me and just didn't think I measured up.
But McLean was funny. A regular contributor to Peter Zosky's Morningside, he gifted the host a cockroach for his retirement.
And, here. I don't want to. Say hi there.
McLean's great passion was his curiosity about other people and his ability to connect with them. As a reporter for CBC News, he chatted up strangers in hospital cafeterias.
I can remember the impact, and it just makes me shudder. And I know that I wouldn't be here today, if I didn't have someone watching out.
On trains.
Now, if I was a mother...
And ferries.
How do you pay the bills?
Well, about every second year, I work at the University of California.
His eye for finding the extraordinary in everyday life eventually led to his most famous gig, hosting CBC Radio's The Vinyl Cafe, where he told tales from the fictional lives of husband and wife Dave and Morley, their kids, friends and pets.
Dave had never put his tongue against the television antenna on a cold night in November.
The Vinyl Cafe was a hit. The accompanying books McLean wrote won him the Stephen Leacock Prize for Humor.
And she said, "You aren't going to believe this." And Morley thought, "Oh, yes, I am."
3 times, making him a giant among Canada's humorists.
The first year I won was one of the few years he was not a finalist. And I remember in my back of the envelope acceptance speech that I hadn't really prepared because I didn't think I was going to win, I thanked Dave and Morley, his characters in the Vinyl Cafe stories, for having a very quiet and uneventful year, because he did not have a book out that year, or I'm sure I wouldn't have won.
He also received the Order of Canada and had fans turn up in droves when he started taking the Vinyl Cafe on the road across North America.
He'd ask the audience, who's got trouble? And someone put up her hand and say, I'm 9 months and 2 weeks pregnant, so I got trouble. And he'd talk to that person for a while. He'd make a story out of it.
But in between all the laughs, McLean found ways to tackle tough subjects. While promoting one of his Vinyl Cafe books 5 years ago, he pointed out his characters were now older and that at some point, one of them may die.
We'll have to handle it sometime, right?
Will we?
Well, either that or me. We're going to lose somebody.
In late 2015, McLean was diagnosed with melanoma, a type of skin cancer. By December 2016, he said he needed further treatment and that the Vinyl Cafe would be put on hold indefinitely. Dave and Morley, whose stories had captivated listeners for more than 2 decades, had gone suddenly silent. And McLean's millions of listeners had lost a friend, a man who observed everyday life and reflected it back to them poignantly and hilarious.
How many people are here and have been here before?
Stuart McLean was 68. Deanna Sumanak Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.